Vodafone Idea was in focus in yesterday's trading session. It saw a very sharp knock, and the Supreme Court has rejected its Vodafone Idea as well as Bharti Airtel's plea seeking waiver of interest and penalty on adjusted gross revenue dues. Calls the petition misconceived. The decision comes as a setback for Vodafone Idea. The company had cautioned the government that it won't survive beyond FY26 without relief. So what is the road ahead for Vodafone Idea now? We now have Balaji Subramanian, who is the Vice President at IIFL Securities, joining us now to discuss more on this. Good afternoon to you, Balaji. Well, we did see the rejection coming in from the Supreme Court, but one line that actually stood out in the dismissal: if the government wants to help you, we are not coming in the way. So, given that government holds nearly 49% stake in Vodafone Idea, what are the options that it does have available to help the company?
Thanks for having me on the show. If you look at one of the observations made by the Supreme Court yesterday, it was that don't bother us in case you want to provide a relief to the industry. We will not come in the way. So I would think that that was just an observation, and we have to see how this pans out going forward. Maybe the government can, or the DOT more specifically, can file a fresh petition seeking clarification on the said matter, whether if the government were to move ahead with any changes to the original AGR verdict of September 2020, whether that would constitute a contempt of. So the Supreme Court puts it in writing that it would not be a contempt of court. Then I think the government has flexibility to take a call on the AGR matter. Now, the different options could be: one, to kind of waive off the interest penalty and interest on penalty on the AGR dues, either or entirely. The second could be to extend the payment timeline of the AGR dues, which has been now set by the Supreme Court as 31st March 2031. Or there could be some correction of some of the calculation errors which the industry has said were part of the DOT affidavit. And even in the past, the DOT has said that there are certain errors that they would like to correct, which was shot down by the Supreme Court way back in 2020. So I think these are some of the options in front of the government, which will mean that we could see some sort of a relief either in NPV terms, or at least in terms of timing for Vodafone Idea.
Balaji, given the fact that the government is now a significant shareholder when it comes to Voda Idea, given the fact that there are so many dues that Voda Idea actually owes to the government, and also given the fact that it is in the best interest of the government to ensure that Vodafone Idea continues as a running concern, are you a little surprised that there has not been a lot more support forthcoming as of now? Number two, in case Vodafone Idea does manage to get some of the relief, that you've mentioned via quite a few of the options that you enumerated for us, 3 options, do you think that the same relief will also have to be given for Bharti Airtel? In that case, does it become a negative proposition for the government?
So I think the government has done its fair share of support for Vodafone Idea, because if you look at the past history, the relief package coming through was necessitated by Vodafone's financial position back in 2021. Then they allowed Vodafone Idea to convert the interest during the moratorium into equity. Subsequently, this time also they allowed the payments for the next 12 to 18 months to be converted into equity. And as a result, the government's stake in the company has gone up to 49%. Now, I think, one of the reasons, why the government was reluctant in terms of giving a relief on the AGR dues was that the government was kind of, certain quarters in the government were worried that any outright relief measure could be construed as a contempt of court. So that is probably one of the reasons why the government refrained from giving any outright relief on the AGR matter to Vodafone Idea. Now, as I said a little while earlier, if the Supreme Court were to allow the government to explore more options, then that possibility also is in the offing. Now, as far as providing relief to Bharti Airtel is concerned, yeah, Bharti Airtel is in a strong financial position. They are making pretty good cash flows, but at the end of the day, you cannot give any targeted benefit to one of the players while the other player, which has also got some of these liabilities, they cannot be, turned away from. So my sense is that, it will result in some sort of relief potentially coming to Bharti Airtel as well. So that is inevitable. I think if the government wants to ensure a three private player market, then that is probably one of the puts and takes that the government will have to live with.
Sure, and let me play the devil's advocate here. Then, if you let market forces play out as it is, do you think Vodafone Idea can continue as a going concern without significant government as well as investor intervention? And do you think that this decision, if there is no action that is taken, could accelerate insolvency or push the company towards bankruptcy proceedings?
See, if you look at Vodafone Idea's cash flow position, if there is no relief, then they will have to cough up nearly 16,500 crores in AGR dues before 31st March of 2026. Now, if none of these three options that I just spoke about were to materialize, the other option could be the government maybe bringing out a special ordinance or a bill in the parliament which lets them circumvent the Supreme Court ruling. So that is a possibility. Maybe that is not something which the government would want to ideally explore as the very first measure. But if none of the above options work out, then this is also a possibility. And if push comes to shove, I wouldn't be surprised if the government ends up taking more stake in Vodafone Idea. I do understand that the government has said that they would ideally not like to convert any more dues into equity, but that is a very distant possibility if none of these work out. So I think there are many of these options before we start thinking about Vodafone Idea moving the NCLT and all.
Right. Balaji, one last question. I request you to keep your answer a bit short. What are the implications as far as Vodafone's vendors are concerned? What kind of a knock will Interstar take given the fact that receivables once again will come into question?
So as of now, they are all currently, there are no overdue receivables. So I think this is an evolving space. So even now, Vodafone Idea has got cash on its books. So I think that is something which one will have to probably keep an eye on, maybe 6 to 9 months down the line. As of now, I don't see any issues there.
Sure. Thank you so much for that, Balaji. Thank you so much for joining in and giving your perspective on this issue. But let's dip into a very short break. We'll get you more on the markets and stock-specific action on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.